Yo, what's up, man? How you?
Good, how are
You
you?
doing all right?
Yeah,
You sure? You nervous?
a little bit.
What you nervous about?
A lot of people seen. Yeah,
Well, hopefully, I want 10, 20 million to see it.
shit, me too.
You know, all right. Can you please introduce your, Can you please introduce yourself and share a bit about your background?
I'm Anthony. I'm from Conway. That's it.
Okay. how how would you describe your childhood and growing up?
um, uh, my childhood, I would say, not, uh, not so good, but I'm thankful for it because it prepared me to be strong, a strong person.
It did.
Yeah.
You say it wasn't so good, but you
I learned how to be responsible very young.
okay.
And I learned how to take care of myself very young. So now I've done it for so long, like it's just second nature to me now.
Okay. Were there any specific challenges or difficulties you faced during that time?
Yeah, abandonment, feeling abandoned.
Abandonment?
Mm-hmm.
What that mean to you?
It's something I've got to work on. Meaning, meaning, yeah, I've really struggled with that for a long time.
Okay.
And I felt like I couldn't ask for help or reach out to nobody. I had to figure it all out by myself.
Okay, we're gonna come back there. You felt like you couldn't reach out, but you say you felt abandonment. What kind of feelings? Like, what were the feelings?
Um, Left to figure it out. Hurt, uh, lost trust for people, a lot of people. Um, uh, Alone. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, when did you start feeling these feelings? How old were you?
Probably like probably like starting at 7. Yeah, about 7.
7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So who raised you?
My grandma.
How was that?
I loved her. I love her.
What you love about her?
She's just on my rock. She's always been there for me
Since day one?
since day one.
Is she still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Do you check on her?
All the time. It's my baby.
It is.
Hell yeah. It's my baby. I don't play about my grandma, man.
You don't play.
No. No, I don't.
Ain't nobody gonna play with grandma.
No.
Not at all.
No, not
Not the first time.
Not none. Yeah.
That's all right. Was there love?
Was there love with my grandma?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Did she care about you?
Hell yeah.
Make
Still cares, still does.
Made sure you was okay.
All the time.
Make sure you ate, had clothes. Grandma figured it out.
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm.
At the time, so when you went to live, so were you still feeling abandoned while she was doing all this?
The thing about it is the thing about it is I'd be ripped away to go live with my parents, then I'd be given back to her. Then I'd be ripped away, then given back to her. Ripped away, then given back to her. And it ended up happening so many times I could never um I didn't know like whether I was gonna be leaving or staying or what was I didn't know.
So that's why you was feeling abandoned.
Yeah, and then like anytime, it was convenient, they would come and grab me and rip me away from the person who was there for me consistently. So I struggle with a lot of times with getting too close, letting people get too close to me, and I know that's what it is. Like, and then I lost. I know you're probably gonna bring that up.
So now, so are you still? Do you still even today? Do you still feel abandoned?
I'm a lot better nowadays than I was back then because back then I had to depend on people somewhat. Now I just got to a point where I don't depend on anybody.
Okay. So how did living with your grandmother impact your upbringing?
Um, Probably not like always good. My grandma, and my grandpa spoiled me and gave me anything I wanted.
Is your grandfather still alive?
No, he passed away in 1998.
How did you feel about that?
That crushed me. That was like that was 7 years old. That crushed me.
So you was aware like that
Oh, yeah.
he was gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
What was going on that day when you first found out? Can you remember that?
I remember that I was never going to see him again. And he was never going to be there ever again. So,
all right. Just to speed it up, you are in recovery.
mm-hmm.
If you don't mind me asking, what were you recovering from?
So I did. So the heroin,
Okay.
fentanyl.
Okay. Was that your first thing, your first drug that you tried?
It was the first drug. I smoked weed my whole life. It was the first drug that I had done other drugs in my life, but
Okay.
every other drug I was just like I just don't want to do that anymore, and I was able to just stop. You know what I'm saying? And this particular drug had such a hold on me.
The heroin and fentanyl.
Heroin, fentanyl had so much of a hold on me. It was literally controlling my life in every aspect, everything. And I never want to go back to have something having that much control over me again.
So how old were you when you first tried? No, heroin.
2018.
How old were you?
29.
Okay, so wait, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When you first tried fentanyl and heroin.
Yeah.
And within that 5 year period, it had a grip on you so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I feel like it came to me at my lowest point in my life, which I think had a lot to do with it too. And it made me feel happy and warm at a time that I was very, 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 very vulnerable. And before I knew it, it took off and it was progressed.
And this may sound funny to people, even to you or people that don't know. I've heard someone talk about the drugs was there when it wasn't nobody there.
Mm-hmm. I can relate.
Like the drugs, like that. There was a whole lot of trauma going on in their life, and like the drugs, it made everything all right.
Yeah, I think that's what it was at the beginning. In the beginning, that's definitely what it was. It was so I didn't have to deal with what was going on, but over time, it became a dependency on it. You know, it just was a dependency that I needed it. You know what I'm saying?
You say you was at your lowest.
That was lowest, yeah.
What you consider your lowest at that time?
So all right. So I lost my brother at that time, and right before I lost my brother, I lost my kids. Then I lost my brother, and I just I don't really know how to explain it. I don't know. I was in a really, really, really dark place. Like I couldn't get out. Like, I just couldn't get out.
So prior to losing your brother, there was no fentanyl and heroin.
Mm-hmm.
You hadn't even done it or nothing.
I tried it one time a few years before that, but I didn't like it, and so I didn't do it again.
So you continue smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
Then you get the news.
Then my brother died.
What?
And I remember it made me feel numb.
No.
Mm-hmm.
The drugs.
The drug did when I tried it.
What made you go back to? What made you do that particular drug?
It was so powerful that it didn't. That I literally didn't have to deal with the fact that my brother wasn't here anymore.
Mm. And you got that feeling that it was powerful from the first time you done it.
Right. Yeah. Years prior.
Mm-hmm. So where were you when your brother passed?
So I was at my house. I lived on Town Square Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I woke up the next morning. My grandma was watching my son, and I woke up the next morning to get up to go to work. And when I was getting ready to get up to go to work, I had literally 27 calls, and I was like, thought something was wrong with my son because I thought my brother was invincible, right? I was like, there ain't no way, you know what I'm saying? That's not even a possibility,
yeah,
right? And I thought something had happened to my son, so I tried to call and let them know. And I went to my grandma's house, just got in the car, and drove to my grandma's house, and they was the only way I can describe this, and like the only way I can really, and I'll never forget this, the only way that I can really describe this feeling right here was it like, if you've ever drank before and been drunk before, right?
I have.
Okay, and you're walking,
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like the world's shaking around you.
Mm.
But I wasn't drunk. I think I was in complete shock.
Yeah.
Looking back, I think that's what it was. Like, I just remember my whole world around me was falling apart, crumbling.
Worst news in the world.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he was my best friend, dude. Like, my absolute best friend. So I really took it hard. Really, really hard. Like, harder than most people know.
What day was this?
This was August 18th, 2018.
A day you'll never forget.
No. It was a bad day. Yeah.
So now your brother is passed. You done went to your grandma and you done got the news. What did you do next?
So the next thing, I don't know if I should say this on here or not, but I mean, it's the truth, right?
You can share whatever you want to share on here.
Okay. So it wasn't like that I like dove right into heroin even after he passed, right? I just smoked a lot of weed. Someone in my family, I'm not going to mention their names, but someone like my immediate family came over and showed me where to get needles from. And at the time, I didn't understand. I was naive, honestly, just to what was going on. And he taught us me and my baby mother how to shoot dope for the first time. And granted, he might have been in a bad space too. You know what I'm saying? And then he can't start to come over every single day. $20 here, $20 there, and before I knew it, I was hooked to that shit bad. You know what I'm saying? It was someone I trusted. So it fucking fucked my life up.
Okay.
It did. It fucked my life up. And looking back, I wish I'd have known what I was getting myself into.
Do you think Do you blame? What was your brother's name?
Brian McGinnis.
What with you being so close to situation, that being your best friend and everything, do you think that's what Brian wanted you to do?
No, I didn't know how to cope. I just didn't know how to cope with it. Like a lot of people don't know, but me and him, like he used to call me. No, I'm not even lying. Dude. He used to call me like 20 times a day.
Yeah.
He'd tell me everything he was doing. One time he shot himself in his hand, right?
Right.
And he called me. He was cleaning the gun and he shot himself in the hand and he called me. And he was like, oh, guess what? And I was like, what? And I was like, what? He goes, I just shot myself. I was like, bro, I was like, why did you call me? I was like, call the ambulance. That's just this is what kind of relationship we had though.
Yeah.
It was just, he called me and I knew everything.
Everything about it.
Everything. Tight. And, so it was really hard for me. It was really hard for me after the fact when I no longer got some phone calls anymore. And I remember one of the last times I seen him, he was asking to take a picture with me. And I told him no, not knowing that would have been the last time I ever took a picture with him. So that's something that I went on to. My big mom was like, you need to go take that picture with him. And I just want to do it.
Yeah.
And that would have been the last picture that we ever took.
Do you are there things that that moment I don't know if you know that moment you just had right there, but when you thought about the memory, how you just felt like better, like it just happened. You felt like that was the feeling, like it just happened. So I can see the intimacy, the relationship y'all had just in that that brief moment right there. Are there certain things that goes on that make you think about your brother more?
All the time, man. I wish I could call him now. Like I think about it all the time. Like, damn, man, I wish I could call him and tell him, like, I have a contract, starting my own, to do my own business. Not saying it's full time or anything, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? That's something that I thought I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about calling him, just telling him, like, because a lot of things. There's a lot of things I think about all the time. Like I want to call him and you can't. You know what I'm saying?
How do you remember him?
Oh man, he's so cool.
Is
man.
there any kind of rituals or something that you do like every year for his birthday?
I let off balloons on his birthday on the beach.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
It's bittersweet. Sometimes I think he's looking out to me. Actually, today it's kind of weird. Today I was working. I just looked down to the sky. And sometimes I like to take a second to remember him. You know what I'm saying? Because 5 years may seem like a long time to some people, but it's like yesterday to me. Like I've gotten better dealing with it over time, but for a long time I didn't even grieve because I was so fucked up all the time that I wasn't even able to really grieve. And the first time I ever grieved was in jail. And J. Rubin was the first time that I literally just broke down and cried and just lost it.
When you was in jail?
Yeah, when I was in jail, I literally, it was the first time I ever really grieved.
Why do you think that was?
Because I didn't have any dope inside of me. I had to feel it. And I had to feel it, and it was raw.
You had to sit there and feel it.
Yeah, and I felt it hard.
Every bit of it.
Every fucking bit of it.
Did you break down?
Oh, hell yeah. Bad. I remember it.
So when you got out of jail, did you use again?
Nope. Stay clean.
What
I made a decision.
what day did you? What's your clean day?
June 6, 2022.
That's the day you got out of jail.
This is the day I went in.
That's the day you went in.
October
And you
10th.
ain't looked, and you ain't
And October 17th when I got out.
and you ain't used since.
And used since. Yep. Well,
So
I had a spiritual awakening in there.
in jail,
In jail.
a spiritual awakening.
I really believe that with all my heart. Can I share them?
Yes, you can.
All right, so I had 3 things that happened that I hold dear to me, right? Number 1 being, and Lewis, you know this. I'm hard headed, right?
Welcome.
I'm so hard headed. Like you can tell me not to do something, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
To tell you,
Just
to show you. Like, oh, I can't do okay.
it
Watch
don't
this.
apply.
Yeah. And so I've had to learn, which I'm a lot better with it now than I was then for sure. But I'm very hard headed, and I'm not as hard headed as I was, but I am still a little hard headed when it comes to certain things. And and this is when I realized this. I was literally in jail for breaking the law, right?
Okay.
And I was refusing to go to my cell, banging on the door, doing all the stuff that they told me not to do. And so they finally just was like, you know what, if you don't want to listen, he wants to fucking cause a problem, then, we'll just take him to MSU, right? Which is like a different part of the jail, right? Which it fucking sucked. I'm not even going to go into detail of it with that, but it just sucked.
Okay.
All right. And I was literally in this little cell. They shut the flap on you. Like, you're in there with no shoes. You know what I'm saying? I'm just thinking about that. It was a week. It felt like 4 months. But anyway.
Is that like
maximum security?
like the whole?
Yeah. And I was in there still flipping out.
Yeah.
Still, you know what I'm saying? I just never really wanted to take ownership of what I did to get there.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's when I became aware of it, though. Right? So then I was in the cell, though, and I was literally in the worst part. And the reason why I said all that is because I was literally in the worst part of the jail, right? And I remember laying there, hungry as fuck. I told Tom by when my stomach was growling.
Okay.
So I knew it was 3 o'clock because I was getting hungry. I couldn't see out the door.
Your body let you know what time it was.
Yeah. Anyway, I had it down to a math too.
Okay, yeah.
So anyway, I was sitting there. I was really hungry. Fucking, I was literally at the worst part I could possibly be, right? And I remember laying there, and I was laying on my back on the floor, and I'm looking up.
Wait, they didn't have mattresses in there?
No, they had a mat, but they had no. You had to lay it on the floor.
Okay.
Right. So I was laying there, and they took it at nighttime, and I was laying there in the middle, like around 2 o'clock, and I remember having an overwhelm, and I was reading this book, like the Holy Spirit, and I literally started praying, and like I want to say within like an hour, I'm not sure exactly, but within an hour, I had an overwhelming sense come over me, and I just remember being such at peace. Right?
Yeah.
I was just at peace, and I remember thinking to myself, like, my life couldn't get any worse right now, but I'm just so good with myself. Like, I'm such at peace right now, and I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I think I made a decision that things were going to have to change my life, and that started with breaking up with my baby mama.
Okay. Wow. So you so that was that moment in your life, that spiritual awakening you were talking about.
Yeah.
I can't continue.
I'm done. Yeah, and I let her know I'm done. Like, I'm like, you can do whatever you want when I get out, but I'm telling you right now, I'm done. And then another thing that happened was somebody that's in NA that has known me forever. So I went to go get additional help. I went to go find out about getting additional help for when I got out to set myself up for like success instead of going back to my grandma's and back to all the, the stuff that put me here in the first place. I know I put myself there, but what I'm saying is the same places that I was around. And before I got locked up, I wasn't trying to go back to that. I was trying to change it all.
Change it all.
People, places, and things.
Okay.
And I went to go ask for help, and the guy, I did not know this, but the guy that ended up coming to help me was someone that is very, very important to me. I didn't even realize it was him that does it, and he came to me, and it was literally, I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? Of all people, and he was very instrumental in and like he literally came to the pod so many times that the inmates came and got me, just let him know he's here for me, because he came so many times in the day. Because we know each other from when I was little. And then the last thing was, I always wanted to go into this place. I don't know if I can say the recovery home, but a specific recovery home.
Okay.
And when I went into a cell, out of all the pods I was in, that man's phone number was on the desk in the cell that I went to. Out of all the cells,
Is this one of the third three spiritual awakenings, or no?
That's the third one.
That's the third one. Yeah. Well, yeah.
So I feel like that was God speaking to me.
Yeah. So how did your brother pass?
That's a touchy subject, because like I don't want to say that it was from a drug overdose, because he created enemies, and so what it was horse tranquilizer is what he died from, right? He died from horse tranquilizer. But there's more to it. I don't really want to go into detail.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying, and so because I don't want him to be remembered. Like I don't want to talk about him like that, saying that he died off of a drug overdose, because that's not the case. He was never like a drug addict. You know what I'm saying? There's more to it.
Okay. All right. So you get out of jail. You done made up and you done had these three spiritual awakenings. I'm done. No drugs, no girl, all that is not for you, it's against you. So you're done. Right. And you have been in recovery ever since. So how do you feel about it? No, I'm sorry. So what has changed about Anthony since you have been in recovery?
Oh man. Right. Like I've noticed a lot of times where other people will notice something about you before yourself, But what I think is amazing is when you start to notice it in yourself, and you don't need someone to say that they notice it, because you know it, and you don't need and you know who you are, you know what kind of person you are, and I think that's the most amazing part. And it took me a while to actually get here. Like I used to care so much about what other people thought, or what people said, or what people did, and I spent so much of and really I just think it's a lot of wasted time, because the really only person I have control over is me and how I react to a situation, and everything on observe a reaction. As long as I'm okay with me, then it doesn't really matter what people think or say.
Right. So let me go back a minute. So when you was using drugs, and you say you had reached that dark place, who did you care about when you was in that dark place?
My kids. I think that's what kept me out there so long. I just lost hope. I felt like I abandoned my kids, and I was scared that like the same thing that happened to me is what they were gonna have to go through. And I made a promise to myself when my first son was born, that I was never gonna have them go through what I went through. And I felt like I broke a promise, and I like to be a man of my word, and I feel like I let my fucking kids down. And that's hard for me. That's a tough thing for me to.
So I know this is the second time you have said spoke about abandonment. So you say you felt abandoned, and then Now you say you abandoned your children.
Not and unintentionally, yeah, unintentionally. A situation happened where I lost my kids, and unfortunately, they're probably going to have abandonment issues because of it, because of bad decisions that I've made. But it wasn't like I intentionally did it, like dropped them off somewhere and hauled ass on them. It wasn't like that. It's just I was making bad choices, which in result, things happen, and yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what though? I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this real quick. That's okay though. You know what I'm saying? That it's okay. I made some mistakes. I'm not proud of. I'm not happy about. You know what? This is what I'm doing today, and this is what I've been doing, and I'm happy with myself today. And I'm not that same guy that I was back then. I'm I want to say totally different, but nowhere near the same person. And despite the bad choices and the bad decisions that I made, I love my kids with all my heart. I you know what I'm saying? And I love my kids. Like I really love my kids. Like, and I just want to be the best father that I can possibly be, despite my bad choices.
Okay. So, boom. So that's something different from our earlier conversation. I hear you saying when you was in jail, you didn't want to acknowledge why you was doing it, but now you acknowledging that you do play a part.
Absolutely play a part. The thing about it is, I know I play a part. I know where I right my wrongs. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I'm man enough to know when I can admit when I wasn't the best I could possibly be.
Okay.
I just don't like to beat myself up about that thing because that can be really dark too. You know what I'm saying? I can own my part, acknowledge my part, and move forward. And that's all I can do for today. So that's what I've been doing.
Be the best version of you.
Be the best version of me today.
Today.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Have you been the best version of you today?
Absolutely.
Why? I mean, who why?
That's so funny you said that, right? Okay, you ready? I'm gonna share this. I don't even care. Listen. So today, so one thing recovery has taught me is if I'm not okay, I have to make sure that I'm okay to make sure that the people around me are okay. I have to put myself number one. And it might sound selfish, but it works for me. As long as I take care of me, everything else is going to fall into place in my life, is what I noticed, right? So I've learned some things that, okay, this is kind of strange. I don't care, but I believe in God heavily, right? And I like to take bubble baths.
Okay.
And it's very peaceful. I put this thing on my phone, and sometimes like when I'm feeling stressed out or I'm worrying about things or I'm just like a lot going on in my head, sometimes I like to go put a bubble, run a bath,
Mm-hmm.
put some soap in it, and I like to dim the lights, and I like to put on this Bible meditation thing, and
Okay.
I close my eyes, and I think that's a moment that I get close with God, right? And because I feel it, it comes over me, and I did that today because I'm worrying about some things, and you know, and I felt the serenity start to leave a little bit, and now I was like, yeah, that's not good. So I was like, I need to do something for me to give me background,
Okay.
right? And I did, and I listened to this thing on my phone, and I just prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I was like, it's like all the weight had been lifted off of me.
Did you have that moment again in jail where you felt like it was going to be all right? or wasn't quite that?
No. Actually, that's actually the best way to say. Yeah, it's exactly. It's all gonna be all right. I wasn't like what I had in jail though. I can't say it was that, but I will say it was that though.
Yeah.
It's all good. I got you.
You
Right?
You say I won't say it was that, but I will say it was that though.
I won't say that it was like that woman's sense.
Yeah, that complete feeling.
Yeah.
But you feel you knew it's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
That was my answer, and that's what I learned. Meditation is listening.
Yeah.
Listening for an answer, and I think that's the answer I got was it's going to be okay. I got you, and that's like turning my will and my life over to the care of God, and that's what I do. And sometimes I don't want to though. Like I said, I'm stubborn, and I think I can fix it all, and that's when I have to backpedal and remember that He's got a plan for me, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm going to be all right, regardless. So. It's easier said than done, man.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. Are there any specific strategies or support systems that have been helpful to you?
Yeah, I got my friend Lewis, a really good friend.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a couple. People. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
It's just, I believe, if I'm okay, I'm gonna get real honest right now. I believe this. The last person that I consider like my best friend, is no longer here. My grandfather is no longer here. There were two people in my life that was like, I felt like my world just had changed. So something I'm trying to work on is trying to put myself out there a little bit more, to try to let people in. I think I'm just so scared that if I let someone in, like someone like that again and then die, I've already went through that twice. You know what I'm saying? I just don't feel like I want to go through that anymore.
And yeah, so
yeah, I got a few people.
if you had the opportunity to tell your grandfather to have one last conversation with your grandfather, what would it be?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Is there anything you have to apologize for, or was there any trust broken or anything?
Nah, I think I was too young. You know what I'm saying? If there was, I don't recall.
What about Brian?
Oh man, yeah, there's a lot of things I could apologize for.
I'm talking about if you had one chance to say something to him.
Oh, if I had to, oh man, dude, I don't think I'd ever want to stop talking to him. I know it's selfish, but I'm just saying.
Well, what would it be?
I would be that I miss you very, very much. I wish, because looking back on my life, I never realized that he had looked up to me so much, and I didn't realize that he literally idolized me. And he was a year and a half younger than me, so I thought we were just like right there in age, so we were like kind of like equals in my eyes. But in his eyes, he looked up to me, and I didn't realize that till later on in life that he was literally watching everything that I did. And I just feel like I could apologize to him for not leading.
Apologize.
Not leading him in the way I should have led him. But one thing is understood though. He knew I had his back, like no matter what. Like that doesn't even need to be said. He knew if no one was there, I was going to be there for him, and that's one thing that I know I'm proud of.
All right. Looking back at your journey, what advice would you give to someone who is currently struggling with drug addiction and trying to find recovery.
Yeah, I tell you.
You got a guy right here. He's standing here. You see him. He stop you. He say, "Man, I've been using. Man, I don't want to use no more. I done lost everything. I feel like I ain't got nothing else to lose or live for." What advice would you give him?
My advice to him would be find an NA meeting. Here's the schedule.
Recovery. Find recovery.
Find recovery. Okay. Find a recovery meeting.
Okay.
And get planted.
But he don't know. He's not gonna even know where recovery meeting at. Like,
well, I'll show him.
Okay.
I'll show him. Listen, what I want to say to that is one thing that's so amazing to me is this right here. You know, I look back and I literally was a straight heroin addict. And over time, that desire has been lifted. You know, just like I created a habit to use and had that control my life, I have created a habit not to use.
Tell me, what's a straight heroin addict?
A straight heroin addict, using toilet water, pond water, whatever, abscesses all over my arms. Literally lost my kids. Could not stop. It literally took me going to jail.
Was that your first time in jail?
Nah, I mean, it's the first time I ever sat in jail.
Okay.
And that's what it took for me. 4 months. I was like, ain't no way. This ain't for me.
No way. So,
I like my freedom.
Did you see your lights getting darker and darker while you was using?
Oh yeah.
You seen it going downhill.
Oh, very fast.
And you could not stop.
Progressive, yeah, absolutely.
And you could not stop.
Could not stop.
Did you lie?
Hell yeah.
Steal?
Yeah, I stole. Yeah, I stole.
You did whatever you had to do to get one more.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You hurt a lot of people?
Yeah, sure. Most of all, I hurt myself though. Yeah, I hurt myself. Yeah. I don't know. I hurt myself out there and I hurt a lot of people around me.
Was it easy to forgive yourself once you got the recovery?
No, it wasn't easy. I generally felt bad. But it taught me a lesson though.
What lesson?
It taught me if you never have to do that anymore. If you don't, you put heroin in you. So it's a pretty good lesson, I think.
Yeah, that's an awesome lesson.
Yeah, so if I put heroin in me, all bets are off.
How many people have you lost to addiction? Right off the top of your head that you know. How many people that you know? It's that bad.
Much.
More than 10?
Yep, more than 10. Mm-hmm. Or just indirectly because of drugs. Like not necessarily a drug user, but because of drugs, you know? Yeah, I mean I'm from here, so a lot of my best friends growing up. Gone. Yeah.
So you still got a shot. You still got a chance.
Absolutely.
Not to ever return back to addiction no more.
Yeah, I don't want to. I say that because I said that I was the worst of the heroin addict because I'm saying that was back then and look at me now. That's my whole point. Like I'm like living proof that you can be a full-blown heroin addict and decide one day that you don't want to live like that anymore and you can do something. You don't have. That's just because you lived like that doesn't mean you have to live like that from each day forward. So I don't know.
Do you believe recovery is the best thing that ever happened to you?
Absolutely.
I seen the change in while you was speaking about your addiction, and then after you got out of jail, like just by having this conversation with you, I seen and I heard the change. There was a dramatic change. You went from not caring about nobody to now you caring about people.
Yeah. Sometimes I care too much.
Is that possible to care too much?
Well, I mean, you know what? For a long time I thought so, but it makes me feel better when I do the right thing, and that's my personality. You know what I'm saying? That's just who I am. You know, I'm a thoughtful, caring person.
Okay.
And you know, I'm not willing to really change that about me.
Well, it's been a great interview. Great story. It's really been great, man. I really do believe, and if I can tell you, you know, I saw you on active addiction before, and then I saw you when you first got out of jail and got into recovery, and I have saw a change. I have saw a change, mental change, a physical change, and a spiritual change. I have saw that, and that's where I'm from. Like, okay, you show me. Like you can tell me, but show me. Let me see, because you can tell me anything. Talking is the easy part. Show me, and I've seen all that in you.
Talk is cheap.
I've seen you get your license, get a car. I've seen you get a job and pay rent. I've seen I've seen this. This is evidence that recovery is possible
For anyone.
for for anyone. I always say, because if I can do it, if you can do it, anybody can do it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen this. This is evidence that this program works if we do the right thing for the right reason.
That's right.
And thank you for coming out, man. Do you know where you at, man?
Yeah. Ain't no days off.
Don't tell me. You gotta tell them.
Ain't no days off.
Ain't no days off. Let's go. Ain't no days off, man. Sometimes I be ain't no days off. Man, quit looking all in the camera, boy. How long?